Okay, is this working? Fuck voice crack. Is this working? Hopefully it is working, but I doubt it is. No, is it? Is it working? I have no idea at this point.
I wanted to take something that's going to benefit us, but I guess we'll see. I guess it's between espionage and infrastructure, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's got port maintenance too, which is nice. Now we'll see. Ming.
View my channel. Live. Oh shit, it's working. Okay. So, yeah. How do I do this? Okay, so first question. Diagram 1 shows an apparatus should be used in the empat lah lihat. Mercury spill. Mercury spill. So it's sulfur. And here's sulfur. Okay. Pin message and okay. Diagram 2 shows a unicellular amoeba. Dry and low temperature habitat. So it's not a suitable habitat. So it does sexual reproduction, which is conjugation, I think. I'm gonna just what just dropped. Fuck. Okay. What did I drop? Yeah, whatever. Probably not important. Okay. Down and open the textbooks as well. Biology Form 4, Biology Form 5. Okay. osmosis. Osmosis, why did potassium permanganate go from here to here? That doesn't make sense. I'm just gonna assume that's a mistake. Because I have read this question before. It seems to be a mistake. I don't know. Water water goes from K to L. Water goes from K to L until dynamic equilibrium is achieved. Before experiment, K has high water potential, high osmotic pressure, and while L is low osmotic pressure. Question 4. Which of the following are related to sodium potassium pump? Sodium potassium pump is active transport across the what's it called, plasma membrane. So it requires energy from ATP and against concentration gradient. It goes from low concentration to high concentration. 3 and 4. It doesn't transport hydrogen ions because it's sodium, potassium, and it uses carrier proteins, not channel proteins. Diagram 4 shows two samples of food containing carbohydrates. Which of the following combination of food? Benedict solution. Oh, this is about reducing and non-reducing sugars. So white sugar I think has a lot of sucrose, and sucrose is non-reducing, while Q has a lot of lactose and the lactose is the monosaccharide. Reducing lactose, I'm not sure if it's reducing or not. Well, what does it talk about reducing and non-reducing sugar? Chapter 4. Or is it 5? I don't remember. Sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. Yeah. Yeah. Lactose and maltose are reducing sugar. Okay. I'm gonna promote myself on my Twitter account instead. Where is it? Here. Quote retweet. Meow. Control V and share it. Okay. So non-reducing should be nothing happens. So in this is reducing. So Cu2 plus gets reduced to Cu plus. So blue color of Benedict's solution changes to brick red precipitate. And this Benedict solution remains blue, so it's B. Diagram 6 shows the effect of temperature on the rate of enzyme reaction. Temperature reaches 60 degrees Celsius, so the enzyme denatures. Which of these is enzyme denaturing? Probably this one. The rest looks like normalized proteins, normal folding of proteins. Yeah, probably. Diagram 6 shows a cell cycle. It goes this way. M phase is mitosis and cytokinesis, and cytokinesis. This is S phase. This is I don't remember the name, and this is sorry also don't remember the name. But what I remember is the multiplication of chromosomes. I think happened in phase U. Phase W is mitosis. So yeah, division of nucleus happens there. In S, organelles are synthesized, I think, and in these cells are metabolically active to get nutrients, to do this and this. But my stuff fell again. Where did it go? Yeah, not important. Diagram 7 shows a phase of cell division. This is okay. Back. This is meiosis. This is and phase 1, I think. Chromosomes at the end of the process. So 1, 2, 3. But I'm gonna assume uh, yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 chromosomes per cell, right? It will be like 1, 2, 3 divided into 4 cells, right? Probably. Okay, diagram 8 shows two types of food fermentation. This is lactic acid fermentation, and this is alcohol fermentation. Alcohol, which is ethanol. So yeah, carbon dioxide, ethanol, energy, lactic acid, and energy. Sorry if there's loud noises in the background. I have no idea what that is. Okay, next, transportation of carbon dioxide from body cells to blood capillaries. In the erythrocyte, CO2 plus P to Q to R. Carbon dioxide and oh, okay. This is the reaction between CO2 plus H2O. It creates uh, H2CO3, which creates what's the formula for bicarbonate? HCO3 minus H plus. This is H plus and CO3 2 minus. So I think P is water, Q is carbonic acid, and R is bicarbonate ion. I think probably right. Yeah, seems about right. If it seems right, then it's probably right. Probably, hopefully. Okay, what's this? Eating disorder is an illness that causes serious disturbances to everyday diet. The person may eat a lot of food at once, then try to get rid of the food by vomiting, using laxatives, or over-exercising. People with this disorder possibly get the medical system symptoms such as weakness, fatigue, dehydration, mouth and throat problems. Each of the following is the health problem related. One of these, it's not gastritis, it's not muscle dysmorphia. I don't think. Is it bulimia or anorexia nervosa? Hmm. For no particular reason, I'm gonna say bulimia nervosa and I'm gonna go check. Where's health issues regarding to digestive system? Here it is. Bulimia nervosa, controlling their body weight. They will eat a lot and vomit out the food they have eaten. Or take laxatives that cause diarrhea. Yep. Well, anorexia is avoid food to achieve their ideal body weight. Bulimia, eat, then remove. While anorexia is don't eat. It makes sense. Okay, this sound is starting to get annoying, but whatever. What is the function of U secreted by S into T? The stomach, it works. Did I do? Okay. The stomach is acidic, but T onwards, I think it's basic, slightly basic. I think S releases like something basic so that it neutralizes the stomach acid. I think it's B, but I don't really remember honestly. Diagram 11 shows a longitudinal section of a villus. Which of the following food stores and substance absorbed are related to structure X? And I don't remember. Uh, I don't fucking remember. What is it? It's fats, right? That are transported into X. Fats and fat soluble vitamins, I think. If it's fats, then it's probably A, glycerol. Moving on. Individual from which following blood groups can receive blood from individual types. It has B antigen and anti-A antibody. This is blood type B. Blood type B can, of course, give and receive from itself. And blood type B, since it has anti-A antibody, it can't go into anything with A. So it can go to O and B only, since it will attack A and AB. Stages in blood clotting mechanism. If the following is the correct sequence. So first, platelets coagulate at the wound. Then O and P, O has to happen before P because converts prothrombin into thrombin. Then the thrombin from O converts fibrinogen into fibrin. The fibrin isn't soluble and thus traps erythrocytes. MOPM. Sure. Why am I getting so much Discord things? What what the fuck are they doing in the fucking group chat? Whatever. Wow. Okay, anyway, let me just um bam 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 reopen the textbook again. Diagram 13, longitudinal section in lymphatic system or lymph nodes, mainly located in human head and neck. what do they do? I don't know. I lymphocytes maybe because it's the lymph nodes. Let's check. It's in the circulatory system. After what's this? Cool, I guess. Where is it? Blood that reaches the arterial end of blood artery has a high pressure. Pressure allows plasma to diffuse continuously from the blood capillaries into intercellular space. Blood plasma that occupies the intercellular space is called tissue fluid. Tissue fluid doesn't contain any erythrocyte, platelet, and plasma protein. Tissue fluid allows the materials. Okay, what does lymph node do? Why does it say what lymph nodes do? What? Lymphocyte. Where does it say what the what lymph nodes do? Somewhere here, probably. Meh, whatever. You just recheck this. It's probably do. Diagram 40 shows actions of antibody destroying Staphylococcus epidermidis. This is antibodies coagulate to the bacteria, make them a target, be trapped and destroyed by phagocytes. Maybe that's what it looks like at least. Maybe it's no, I think it's opsonization maybe. It's opsonization. It acts as a marker. For phagocytes. Maybe. Okay, where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay. Agglutination, antibodies coagulate the pathogens and make them an easy target. Oh, not not optimization. Neutralization, antibodies bind the toxin produced by bacteria and neutralize the toxin. Precipitation, antibodies react with dissolved antigens to form an insoluble complex that's easily destroyed by phagocytes. It's this optimization. Antibodies combine. Oh yeah, it does act as a marker. This is make them an easy target, but this one, it doesn't make them an easy target. It acts as a marker, not make them an easy target. Make sense? Lysis, lysis is lysis, decomposition. Make sense? Optimization. And diagram 15 shows different response types. This is voluntary, voluntary. This is involuntary, voluntary. This is no, 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 no. This makes sense. This makes sense. And I think this is the opposite as well. Next. Transmission of nerve impulse across a synapse. Which of the following is substance X? Substance X is a neurotransmitter. That's just what it is. Can't really explain more. The diagram 20 shows endocrine glands. Which gland secretes thyroxine? What's thyroxine? What's thyroxine? I don't remember. Was it's a hormone, right? Hormone. So it's in chapter 12. Is it? No, it's in chapter 14. Maybe no, not 14. Is it 13? What's hormones? Hormone. What's hormones? Um, is it Here it is, thyroxine. Thyroxine is thyroid gland. Okay. That makes sense. Thyrox, thyroid. So it's B, thyroid gland. Diagram 18 shows a neuron which is this type of neuron. It has these two thingies and one head thingy. Motor neuron probably. Where's nervous system? Not this. Coordination and response. here it is. Motor neuron has, here it has a few of these, axon and a cell body here. Cell body at the end with the dendrites and the few synaptic nerve at the end. Yeah. Sensory neuron, it has the cell body in the middle of the axon and dendrite synaptic knob at the end. Root cell is the found in the dorsal root ganglion, whatever that is. Nerve impulses are transferred from the cell body to the axon to the next neuron. Yeah. Relay neuron. It has, it doesn't have axon. It only has cell body, dendrites and synaptic knobs. Cell body has been found in clusters in the gray matter of the central nervous system. Sends nerve impulses from the sensory neuron to the central nervous system and then from the central nervous system to the motor neuron. So it goes um, from sensory to relay to the brain, I will assume, because it's part of the central nervous system, then goes to the relay again, and then goes towards motor neuron. I guess it makes sense. So, structure of nephron in the kidney. Which part, label A, B, C, and D, does reabsorption of amino acid occur? Not D, that's for sure. Reabsorption into the lymphatic system, into the not lymphatic, the bloodstream. This is already the urinary tract about to get this spaced out. Is it at the Bowman capsule thing, or I think it's like C. That's my first guess. Here it is. Okay, man, what chapter is this? Endocrine system. That makes sense. Urinary system. Here it is. The nephron. Kidney is made up of millions of functional units of nephrons. Each nephron is made up of Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, and renal tubule. What's the renal tubule? Glomerulus, Bowman's capsule. I assume this entire thing. Renal tube. Oh yeah, renal tubule. Renal tubules are composed of proximal convoluted loop of Henle and distal convoluted tubule. Loop of Henle is this big loop over here. The proximal convoluted tube is this confusing skinny things, and the distal convoluted tube is after the loop of Henle. So, produce urine will flow from the collecting duct to the urethra. So, glucose, amino acids, urea. It reabsorbs at the proximal convoluted tube via active transport. Yeah. Ultrafiltration. Reabsorption of 100% of glucose and amino acids occurs through active transport. So yes, it's not C, it's B. Following are characteristics of an animal. Streamlined body has segmented blocks of muscle. Muscles are in the shape of W. This is unequal because streamlined body and the segmented muscles. What's the muscle system here? Muscular system, muscular and musculoskeletal system. Where is it? Here. What's shaped like a W? Ah, fish. See? Fish vertebral column is flexible and can be moved from side to side by the contraction or relaxation of myotome W-shaped muscle segments. Antagonistic muscles act in opposite directions, allowing a fish to whip its tail. As myotome on the left, as the myotome on the right contracts, the one on the left relaxes. Huh. Okay. Makes sense, but I really don't see the W looking. Is it this? I guess it is W shape. Yeah, I guess it is. Okay, moving on. Diagram 20 shows a fetus in the mother's uterus, structure S. Structure S transport antibodies from fetus to mother, secrete progesterone hormone with pregnancy. 2 and 4 definitely. Yeah, 2 and 4. Antibody has to be separated because the the fetuses and the mother's blood type may not be the same and it might not be incompatible with one another. And it can't avoid these substances from being absorbed. That's why you have to avoid doing that during pregnancy. Childless couple consulted the doctor on the infertility problem. Doctor diagnosed that the wife has a complication in her fallopian tube as shown in diagram 21. Which of the following procedures can be suggested for the couple to conceive? IVF. Hormonal therapy wouldn't do anything because if the secondary oocyte is released, it will be blocked. And I don't know what ligation is. This this doesn't look like it helps at all. Okay. Well, not it doesn't help, but like, yeah, kinda unrelated. Diagram shows roster of an insect, which of the following true for process at Q. Process at Q is Exodus. How do you spell that? Exodus. Ecdysis, not Exodus. Ecdysis. Process happens periodically. Body volume increases. Lymph, the nymph undergoes multi-process. So it's one for duster. Body volume not increase. Before the new exoskeleton hardens, the insect will increase its volume by sucking air, breaks the old exoskeleton, new exoskeleton will emerge, the insect will expand its body one more time before the new exoskeleton. Wait, does it or does it not? Happens periodically, and yet it does undergo molting process. I think okay, let me check the answers. This is question 96. 96C. Yeah, C. Does the volume not increase? It does increase, right? Insect increases its volume. whatever, I guess. What? Yeah, whatever. But this is a biennial plant, and that's the only thing I need to know because I have no idea what these are in terms of lifespan, of course. Diagram 24 shows an experiment to study photosynthesis. So the following and increase the number of gas bubbles. Water bath is at a good temperature. I think using an 80 watt bulb, this is brightness factor, and using higher sodium hydrogen carbonate, this is CO2 concentration factor. This would reduce, and this would also reduce the number of gas bubbles released in photosynthesis. It's 1 and 4 only. This will reduce it because lower surface area. Yep. Okay. Macronutrient. Fuck this. I don't remember macronutrient deficiency anything. Poor root growth, red or purple spot, formation of dull dark green leaves. What nutrient is needed? Ensure the healthy growth and development of the plant. I don't fucking know. What is it supposed to be? Biology from 5, nutrient. Nutrition in plants. The main inorganic nutrient. The main organic nutrients. Photosynthesis will not take place. Less oxygen, sun to grow. It's not micronutrients because the question specifically says macronutrients. Phosphorus, nucleic acids, ATP, and phospholipids in plasma membranes. The effects: unhealthy root growth, formation of dark green and dull colored leaves, red or purple spots on the leaves. I really need to memorize this. But okay, CHO is obvious enough. Okay, be right back. Okay, anyways, as I was saying, diagram 25 shows an apparatus to study the effectiveness of phytoremediation plants in controlling water pollution. Concentration of ammonia in the lake water. The concentration of ammonia in the water sample has the concentration of ammonia in the water sample has decreased. So, what's the best conclusion for the test? Well, this is right. Ammonia is not heavy metal. This is also right. This is unrelated. These two are unrelated, but out of these two, I think B is the best. Because it's more specific than A. A is more general. Diagram 26 shows Apis mellifera bees on a flower of dragon fruit plant. Due to a forest fire event, the population of bees vanished from the dragon fruit farm. What, which of the following is most suitable method to ensure the continuity of fruit production? Uh, I don't know. What does cytokinin do? I assume it's something about cytokinesis. Mm, yeah, I have no clue. What is it about? I would say we breed the plants, but I doubt that's right. Auxin, does auxin promote fruit growth? Chapter 5, I think. Does auxin promote fruit growth? I remember ethylene does it, but that's auxin. Inhibits abscission of fruits and young leaves. Inhibits growth of lateral glands. Buds. So it's probably spray auxin. Question 31. B, yes. Why not repeat the bees? Because it would take too long or something, I don't know. of the following is significance of diffusion by generative nucleus? Um, I don't know. We assume it's to produce two haploid male gametes because I don't know, because it just does, I guess. I know there are three that comes the nucleus and two thingies, but that I think it produces haploid ones, not diploid. Let me check. OBS Studio. This is just in the mother cell fertilization stage. Wall of anther from mature garland will shrink, dry, shrink, and split. Release pollen grains are transferred to the stigma of the same flower or different flowers by a pollinating agent. Pollen grains that have been transferred to the stigma will germinate and form a pollen tube. Pollen tube goes down towards the ovule to the style. The generative nucleus will move along the pollen tube towards the ovule. At the same time, the generative nucleus will divide by mitosis to form two male gametes. Yep. At the end of the pollen tube, will secrete an enzyme to digest the tissue of the style. When it reaches the embryo sac, the pollen tube will penetrate through the ovule to the micropyle. The tube nucleus will degenerate, and both male gametes enter the embryo sac. How does double fertilization work? Two male gametes in which the first male gamete fertilizes the egg cell to form a diploid zygote, whereas the second male gamete uses this polar nuclei to produce diploid endosperm tissue. Pollen tube will penetrate to the ovule to the micropyle. The tube nucleus will degenerate, and both male gametes enter the embryo sac. One of the male gametes fertilizes the egg cell, produces a diploid zygote. The second produces diploid endosperm nucleus. What do endosperm do? Okay. Tissue is used for the development of embryo for the survival of plant species. In unicots such as legumes, mangoes, and mustards, endosperm is fully utilized by the embryo to develop before the seed matures. In most monocots, only a part of endosperm is utilized for the development of an embryo. Some of them are supercot. In cotyledon, to be utilized during germination. The endosperm tissue enables the embryo to survive in the heat for a long time if conditions are not favorable for germination to occur. So, endosperm is protective tissue, I think. Protective tissue and nutrient storage. It is used for development. Endosperm is fully utilized by the embryo. Yeah, probably. Which of the following statement is true about the classification of plants based on habitat? Hydrophytes are plants that have adapted to living either partially or fully submerged in water. Which of the following is the typical features of submerged hydrophytes? Floating, large and thin leaves. Stomata present on the upper epidermis. Wait, there's no 1 and 4. Okay, guess not. This one I'm 90% sure. Probably, I don't know, all of this seems fair. I guess it would specifically be polydeveloped xylem tissue because it lives in water, it doesn't need that developed of a xylem. No, it's B. B is 2 and 3. It's not. Stomata on the upper epidermis. Okay. Submerged hydrophytes. Okay. My bad. These two are for floating hydrophytes, I think. Okay, where's hydrophytes? Here it is. Ah, hydrophytes. Floating plants such as the lotus are plants that grow on floating water surface with roots not anchored to the bottom of the lake. Most of the stomata are distributed on the epidermis. Upper epidermis is also covered by a waxy waterproof cuticle. To ensure the stomata are always open, the stem of these plants consists of light tissues with plenty of air spaces between the cells. These tissues are known as parenchyma tissues. Submerged plants that grow completely inside the water. These plants have leaves that are thin and small to increase the total surface area per unit volume and to increase the diffusion rate of water, mineral salts, and dissolved gases directly into the plants through the epidermis. Submerged plants do not have stomata and waxy cuticle on their leaves. Their stems, which are small and hollow, help these float upright in water and reduce the water flow. That's a very thing. Yeah. Little or no waxy cuticle, poorly developed island. And it makes sense, but then you say it's here, purely poorly developed island, right? Whatever. Makes sense because doesn't need to develop a good xylem. It lives underwater. The water does the job for it. Each of the following can be done to prevent the spread of COVID. Not swimming in a crowded pool, just watching hamster relief, just standing 1 meter apart. No, don't touch nose after using an ATM. 20. Uh, if only the exam had only questions like these, it would be so easy. A quadrate measuring 10 centimeters cubed is used to study the percentage coverage of Purococcus species on the trunk of a tree. Table 1. Since the result obtained by the quadrate something like this. Okay, I think it's the I think it's total area of plant over total area times 100% because it's in percentage. So yeah, so it's 0.6 plus 0.68, etc. etc. I'm too lazy to calculate. There's more scientific calculating. 0.6 plus 0.68 plus 0.27 plus 0.0 plus 0.25 equal what equal okay, 2 over 5 or 6 5 times 10 so it's 2 over 50 equals 4 times 100% is of course 4%. Is that right? It feels right. 55, yeah, that would be. Diagram 28 shows tomato plant S and T treated in two different fertilizers. Foliar fertilizer, compost fertilizer. What's the best reason tomato plant S is taller than tomato plant B? What's foliar fertilizer? This sounds wrong. This also sounds wrong. What are foliar fertilizers? Liquid or sprayable fertilizers directly to the leaves of plants. Ah, allows for direct nutrient uptake to the plant's leaves. Oh, okay, makes sense. So, nutrient does not come from the root, it's seed. Foliar fertilizers are fertilizers that are sprayed onto the leaves. Okay, the pair of husband and wife inherit the heterozygous like bouquet. What's the probability of them having children with blood group A and O? So it's AO, AO. Let's just say capital A, lowercase a for convenience. It would be capital A, capital A, lowercase a, and lowercase a, lowercase a. So this would be blood type A, and O. So 3 over 4 equals 75%. This is 25%. So it's D. Yep. Monohybrid cross between two mice. Hmm. So it's a roughly 50-50. It's roughly a 50-50. I mean, the white fur mouse, I assume B means black, so it can't have any B. And the black fur one, if it was a homozygous B, there wouldn't be any white offspring, so it has to be heterozygous B. Next question. Example P shows variation of fur color for domestic cat. Which of the statement is true about the type of variation shown? This is discrete variation. So no, it isn't an histogram. It isn't a histogram. There's no intermediate characteristics. What does this mean? Okay, I guess difference in characteristics is not distinct. It's very distinct. It cannot be measured and dated. I assume that means, hmm, I don't know. It can be quantized, quantified, not quantized. Diagram 31 shows two DNA profiles from hair samples found at the crime scene. Which of the following possible DNA profile of the criminal? Um, if only this was side by side, it would be way easier. answer? The answer is B, gravity. So that's, I'm blind. It is literally equal. I'm blind. In my defense, I'm very sleepy, okay? Melaka. Gonna do Melaka and then probably either do paper 2 or stop sleep. But I don't think I have classes tonight. So I probably have time to do the paper 2. Let me check just in case. Yeah, I don't have any classes tonight. Got cancelled. Okay. What's the direction of A shown in diagram 1? Diagram 1 of a crocodile. I think that's central. Or is it dorsal? Okay, fish. Dorsal fins up here. I think this is the posterior and this is the anterior. So I think this way is the ventral. 1B, yep. I don't remember really directions. I just remember that fish has dorsal fins on their top. That's why I use a fish as the example. I think the posterior is in front because a positive theory, I guess. Front and back. Ventral is towards the lower part of the body. What does it? I guess this is the lower part of the body. No, anterior is the front. Posterior is the back. Hmm. Fair enough, I guess. I don't know. Which of the following structure can be observed in both animal and plant cells using a light microscope? This is the nucleus. Yeah, I think it's a nucleus. 2A nucleus. Yep. In an experiment conducted on the sub-amount of a seaweed vacuole, it was found that the calcium ion concentration in vacuole was 330 milligrams per decimeter cube, while the calcium ion concentration in the seawater was 13 milligrams per decimeter cube. What is the process contributing to the changes in the calcium content of the seaweed's vacuole? Transportation across the plasma membrane, inside, high, and outside, low. So the seaweed vacuole got somehow the low concentration inside, and that's active transport. Or think it's about getting the outside in, not the inside out. This question. If it was getting inside out, that would probably mean the calcium ions are produced inside the cell, which is I don't think it does. Graph in diagram 2 shows the change here. Oh, hi Drawing. Yeah, I have no idea why I'm streaming this either. So we aren't that different, I guess. Based on the graph, which of the following concentrations of sucrose solution could be used so that a flaccid potato strips retains its turgidity. It should be below 2.5 or whatever this is. Below here. It's grams to 100 ml. So below 2.5 is 1.5. Okay. Plastic potato strips retains its turgidity. It's called deplasmolysis. It requires a low concentration of solution, I think, for it. Yep. On 2.5, it wouldn't really do anything. Well, the concentration would change, but it wouldn't become turgid. It would still stay around flaccid, and above that, it would stay flaccid. Okay. Diagram 3 shows the formation of maltose from molecules Q and R. What's Q and R? Okay, I don't remember this. Maltose is not galactose for sure, because galactose makes lactose. Maltose, I think, is double glucose, I think. Let me check. Answers 5 is E. Oh, damn. Okay, maltose is just double glucose, while what about glucose and sucrose? What does that mean? Glucose and fructose, not that. Oh, damn, it makes fructose. Glucose makes maltose. Glucose and the lactose makes lactose, and glucose and fructose makes sucrose, which is common sugar. I guess I can remember this because common sugar comes from sugar canes, as far as I remember. So it's a plant, it has a lot of fructose. So when those two are combined with glucose, it creates sucrose. I guess. I don't know. Diagram 4 shows the lock and key hypothesis of enzyme action. Based on the diagram, what characteristic does this enzyme show? Okay, this is definitely specific action of enzymes, because shapes, circle, the circle block goes into the circle hole. The rectangle block goes in the rectangle hole. Yeah, it doesn't show anything about reversibility. It is reversible, but it doesn't show anything about that. It doesn't show anything about temperature, and it doesn't show anything about changes after or before the reaction. Okay, diagram 5 shows the longitudinal section of a plant root. Which part of the plant root system carry out mitosis? Well, R carries out mitosis. It's R the plant cap, the root cap. This looks like the root cap, maybe. This is definitely zone of differentiation. I think it's Q, but I don't know. Sometimes questions like this are confusing. Is this supposed to be root cap or zone of cell division? This is definitely zone of elongation. Since there's no R only, I will say it's Q only. The answer says, survey says, 7 in. So R is root cap. This is the zone of differentiation. This is zone of elongation. This is zone of cell division. Okay. Formation of glucose by yeast can be shown. Fermentation, my bad, of glucose by yeast can be shown by the equation in the equation below. What are substances P and Q? Glucose does ethanol fermentation, alcohol fermentation, so it uses this. It doesn't do lactic acid fermentation, or bread would be very sour. And as far as I know, bread isn't that sour unless you use sourdough or something. I have no idea. Okay, next question. Why is this open like this? Diagram 6 shows the part of the human respiratory system. This is the alveoli. Uh, which of the following are the adaptations of the structure for gaseous exchange? It has a large surface area, so one is wrong. Large surface area per unit volume, has a thin wall, 1 cell thick. It has moist surface to make transport of gas across the plasma membrane easier, and it's covered by many blood capillaries. So it's 2, 3, and 4. Number 9, D. 2, 3, and 4. Yep. Question 10. Which of the following occurs during exhalation process in a fish? In a fish, here's the mouth, here's the lamella filament thingies, and here's the gills. Water goes in here, passes by lamella, and goes up to the gills, to the operculum, I guess. isolation, so the operculum would be open because it needs to get out to there. The mouth will be closed, and yeah. Number 10, C. Yep. Diagram 7 shows a part of human digestive system where the digestion of food starts. Each of the following statements correctly describes what happens in the mouth. So, in the mouth, it's both physical and chemical. What's it called? Physical and chemical digestion. Chewing increases the surface area of food for digestion. I Okay. It's either one or four. One or four. I don't think saliva emulsifies fats, so I think it's four or one. Two and four. The teeth don't break up molecules. The teeth is just too big for that. Number 11 should be C. 11, yep, C. Yippee! Number 12, diagram 8 shows a longitudinal section of a human heart. Structure L, structure R is a pacemaker. What's the function of R? It's a pacemaker. A pacemaker generates impulse. This question is definitely to trick people who don't read this part, because this is the left left ventricle, left atrium. My bad. So it takes in the the right atrium. My bad. So it's gonna trick students into answering this one. This is why you read a question in full. 12B. Diagram 9 shows structure X in the human lymphatic system. Which of the following is a function of structure X? Yeah, uh, we've already done this before, but I didn't find the page in the textbooks for it, so I have no idea. I don't think it's to destroy red blood cell. If it does, it destroys like dead red blood cells. It might be a filter. I think it's a filter maybe. I think I don't know. I haven't studied on lymphatic system. I'm gonna guess D, but it's probably wrong. Which question is 13? 13 is C, the filter. Yeah. I'm just gonna Google real quick. Function of lymph node. Frequently make sure. How many lymph lymph nodes 400 to 800 lymph nodes throughout your body. What do lymph nodes do? Looking for foreign invaders like viruses, bacteria, and parasites and fungi, destroying them or marking them for other immune cells to destroy. Yep, they have lymphocytes. Removing damaged, abnormal, or cancerous cells, I assume this is by filtration. Yep, your immune cells do this by filtering lymph, liquid that leaks from your blood vessels and contains proteins, minerals, nutrients, damaged or diseased cells, and foreign substances. Hmm, interesting. Yeah, we didn't have time to finish the Form 4 syllabus back when last year. So I'm forced to read it myself, and thus there's many things that I look over and don't read, such as this lymph nodes. It filters out bacteria and foreign bodies, and it produces lymphocytes. Yep, neutralize foreign agents. Swollen lymph nodes are a sign that the body is fighting an infection or disease. Okay, continuing on. Diagram 10 shows the concentration of antibody in the blood after 2 injections. This is vaccine. Artificial active immunity. It's not an anti-serum, it's a vaccine. It contains living pathogen. Nope, it's dead. Second injection is required to boost immunity level. Second injection contains a higher level of antibody. No, well maybe, but I think it's quite to boost immunity level instead of the second injection itself has a high antibody. Question 14 C. Yep. Vaccines don't directly inject antibody, as far as I remember. I think that's anti-serum injects antibodies. Yep, anti-serum is a blood serum containing antibodies that is used to spread passive immunity to many diseases via blood donation. Continuing on, information below describes the functions of part of the human brain, controls voluntary movement like walking and jumping, intelligence and learning, sensing the environment. This is the part of the brain that uh, controls conscious thought. I think it's A. I don't remember the name. It's either the hypothalamus or no, it's either the cerebrum or the cerebellum. I think it's the cerebrum, cerebral cortex, whatever. Yeah, A. 15 A, 14 C. What did I have this something like? Cerebrum. Where is it? What chapter is it? coordination and response. Final, not the spinal cord. I need to remember this as well for, okay. The cerebrum, largest and most complex structure, folded within the surface area. The center that controls emotions, steering, sight, personality, and control actions. The cerebrum receives information and stimulus from the receptor. The information is analyzed, integrated, and correlated to produce sensory perception. The response is determined and instructions are given to the key factors. The cerebrum is also responsible for higher mental abilities such as learning, memorizing, linguistic skills, and mathematics skills. While the cerebellum maintains coordination and body contraction, coordination and muscle contraction for body movement. While the hypothalamus and medulla oblongata are more about involuntary action. Hypothalamus is homeostasis and controls secretion of a few types of pituitary gland hormones, while medulla oblongata is most regular involuntary actions like heartbeat, breathing, digestion, etc. etc. Anyways, question 16. Which hormone is correctly matched to its function? Progesterone, I think. 16. B, yeah, progesterone. Where's hormones? In this chapter, right? Hi, this is the second time I'm searching for this something thing. So it's not in this chapter, so I guess. Not sexual reproduction. Not not urinary system. Where's hormones? I forgot where hormone endocrine system. Yeah, here. Where's endocrine system? Ah, here it is. Estrogen is used to stimulate secondary sexual characteristics in the female, repress and stimulates thickening of uterus wall, while progesterone stimulates the development of uterus wall and the formation of the placenta. Testosterone stimulates the development of secondary sexual characteristics in the male and spermatogenesis. I think the one that stimulates what's it called ovulation is uh, FSH, or is it LH? LH stimulates ovulation. Stimulates the reabsorption of water in the kidneys is antidiuretic hormone, ADH. Stimulate the reabsorption of water, while oxytocin stimulate the contraction of uterine muscles. Okay, I will be right back. Anyways, moving on. I'll probably finish this paper and then go out to eat for a while. Okay, which of the following is a part of homeostasis? Homeostasis. Vasoconstriction of arterioles in this case. 17 here. Diagram 11 shows ultrafiltration that occurs in the kidney. Why is there no erythrocytes found in X? What's X? Arteriole or afferent artery. Because it's a large molecule, it can, so it's not a molecule, but yeah, 18 B, it's not a molecule, but close enough. Which of the following animals has a hydrostatic skeleton and an exoskeleton at different stages of its life in a complete metamorphosis? Grasshoppers. 19, oh, A. Right? 19A. Flies have exoskeletons. Okay, anyway, which of the following shows how fraternal male twins are formed after fertilization? Fraternal male twins. So it's Y, double Y, 20D. Because the ovum is YY, well, 1Y, so it's X. I'm sorry, the ovum is X and the sperm is Y. So when combined, they will make XY, which is males. From that. Okay, what is zone Y? It's a plant shoot. So zone Y is cell division zone. Zone of cell division. 21. 22. Which of the following pairs of tissue and function is true? Vascular and epidermis. B. Yeah. Chloroplast in a cell. Which of the following structure is the site for light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis? Light-dependent is in A, I think. 23. Either A or C. 23, I think it's A. Yeah, it's A. This is light-dependent. I assume C is not light-dependent. I forgot the word. 24 shows what's the effect on photosynthesis is structure X is covered in dust from the construction site. Production of glucose decreases because photosynthesis decreases. Carbon dioxide doesn't get released to the environment. Carbon dioxide isn't released. Yeah, carbon dioxide is taken and oxygen isn't released. Well, oxygen is released, but it doesn't increase, it decreases. And they don't produce starch. 35. Problem faced by plant caused by lack of nitrogen. I don't remember. Um, nitrogen, 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 chlorosis. 25C, yep. Nitrogen causes chlorosis. Which of the following mutation for R and S and T? S is parasite, R is epiphyte, and T is carnivore. 26B. 27. Following information describes root pressure which is involved in the passage of water and mineral salts from soil to root. Root pressure moves water from the soil into the xylem vessels of the root via osmosis. Which of the following affects root pressure? Water potential in the soil is lower compared to no. Water potential water potential in soil is higher. Yep. There is B is not equal. 28. Water spinach used for phytoremediation. What's the following? What is other example of photoremediation plants that is correctly matched with their function? Sunflower plant is Forsythia. 28. B. 29. Coleoptile tip is cut and placed on agar block, then it's placed inside the box with full and exposed to a light source. Huh. I have no idea. I would assume it's B because the auxins have already moved into the agar block. And then like maybe it's C, I don't know. 29 C. Oh, it's moved. Okay. Auxin is attracted by light. Yep. Embryo sac of flowering plant. P and PQs. P is the main what's it called? The main nuclei that does the gets fertilized, while the other three is polar bodies. What's the word? The egg cell. Yeah, these are polar nuclei. What happens to it? Megaform other cell divides mitotically 3 times to produce a cell with 8 nuclei. So this is mitotically 3 times to form a cell with 8 nuclei. Yeah, generative nucleus divide mitotically to form 2 haploid male gametes. Cube nucleus will degenerate in both male gametes and to the embryonic sac. end of the pollen tube. Is it pollen tube or secrete an enzyme, not a hormone? Pollen with sigma will germinate and form a generative tube. Pollen on the sigma will germinate. I think 31 is key. Yeah, it doesn't germinate on the generative tube. Pollen tube. On yeah, pollen tube, generative tube. Diagram 18, 19 shows the type of plant. Which of the following is the habitat? C. Yep, it's rubber plant. 23. Main characteristics of a microorganism. No obvious nucleus because there's no nuclear membrane. 1 to 10 micrometers. Exists in single cells, pairs, filaments, chains, or groups. I think it's fungi. I think it's fungi. Or it's, yeah, I think it's fungi. Let me see. B and B is bacteria. Mm. Diagram 20 shows the energy flow from producer to secondary consumer. 90% loss to level. What's the total energy? 180,000 divided by 10 divided by 10. So the secondary timer passed down to the secondary timer. Okay. Okay. 180. 34 is D, right? 34 D, yeah. It's 1.8 K kilojoules. So it's 180 kilojoules here. Movement control order announced by the government to curb the spread of COVID-19 resulted in more time being spent at home and contributed to increased energy consumption. Among the practices that can be practiced to reduce the use of electrical energy is to turn off the switches of electrical equipment while not in use. How can this practice contribute to environmental sustainability? It reduces carbon monoxide, maybe. If I B, yeah, because uh, most power plants burn stuff and burning those stuff releases carbon monoxide when not burned in excess oxygen. Student wants to estimate the population of snails in a garden. He catches 65 snails and marks them after releasing them. After 3 days, he catches 40 snails and finds that 5 of them are marked. What's the estimated population? What's the formula? 65 times 40 over 5, I think. 520 maybe. See, Yep. A married couple has different vision factor. Their first child is vision positive, or the subsequent pregnancies end with miscarriage. Determine the risk factors for the parents and the miscarriage people. In case, yeah, I don't remember shit about this factor, but definitely the mother and the fetus has different factors. I think the father has positive vision factor. This hasn't see yet. The father has positive vision factor while the mother has negative. The fetus will get, well, has the possibility to get wishes plus. When they get wishes plus, the fetus and the mother are incompatible with one another, causing the mother cells to attack the fetus cells, and the fetus, it gets miscarried. Trait of variation. Trait of variation is, this is discrete variation. Um, Blood type, blood groups. 58. Okay. Fair enough. I guess blood groups have 4, while presence of dimples is a simple yes no question. If it's blood groups, I guess there would be another 2 bars here. But this one is a 2 thing, it's a yes or no. This is A, B, C, A, B, O, or A, B, not C. This is continuous and this is also continuous. How does Turner syndrome occur? Turner syndrome is non-disjunction during the first meiosis, I think. It's non-disjunction, I think, of the Y chromosome during the first meiosis. 39. C, no, it's the X chromosome. What's the chromosome of Turner syndrome again? Turner syndrome is XO. So it's, yeah, C. The following statement describes genetic engineering. Recombinant DNA technology has successfully produced many beneficial varieties of crops such as rice, corn, and soybeans, as well as livestock such as cattle and goats. GMF presents DNA from other species of plant or animal. Which of the following is possible disadvantage of genetic engineering? Advantage, 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 disadvantage. 40A. Yep, and now I'm gonna end stream until in a bit. I'll probably restart stream to do second paper. Then bye bye.